Hey YouTube, it's Chuck. All right, bringing the camera with me today. I've got some weekly spring hive management to do. Basically, I need to go through the hives and make sure swarm cells are not being created, and I need to check the number of frames of brood that are in each hive to manage their size before we get to the swarm peak season, which in my estimation is the second and third week of March. After that second and third week of March, when the swarm impulse starts to decrease, is when I'm going to start to let them build up and go for the honey flow that begins towards the end of March in full earnest. So this is probably going to be a little bit of a long video, but I'm not going to keep you all the way through. I'm going to just look for highlights. I do have to make my cell builder queenless again. I'll show you a little bit more about that, how I do it, how I choose the cell builder. It was this hive over here last week. I'll make a determination when I'm in the hives if I want that one to be the cell builder or not, again or not. A couple other items I'll just say, I'm going to be wearing my jacket. I usually wear gloves when I'm going through a lot of hives. And one thing I do notice a lot of other people with gloves, they wear these latex gloves, and I choose to wear latex also. The bees can sting through it, but they typically, you get stung a lot less, but you have a lot more dexterity as if you were barehanded. It lets me go a little bit faster than perhaps if I was just, being gentle with the bees. But the one thing I want to make a note of is look at what color these are. These are white. If you go to a hardware store or Harbor Freight or anywhere to buy your gloves and you get those thicker ones to try to prevent stings, those thicker ones are black. And I don't know if you saw my video the other day where the bees were going after the little wind dead cat on my microphone. Bees do not like black, or rather they go for black. My Apple Watch, I've noticed, if I don't have it covered up, they want to sting this rubber band. So black is not the color to choose in the bee yard. The same goes with black t-shirts, black jackets, black hats, anything black. I find the bees are defensive against. So just a tip, I use white. In my jacket, I usually have my veil on when I'm going, so you probably won't be able to see my face as much, which is fine. On the video, I try to have a little bit of eye contact without my veil when I can, but when I'm going through the hives, you're probably just going to hear me talking, and we'll see where this goes. Let's go. Okay, I keep notes on this one, so basically I've got this one marked as a possible requeen candidate, because basically it kind of came out of winter a little bit weak. I did combine it with another smaller hive, so it's kind of building back up. It does have a yellow queen in it from last year though. Doesn't look bad. The numbers are about what I expect. Getting some occasional beetles, not a lot. I don't see them running around when I take the cover off. This is my special beetle mixture. This is proprietary at the moment. I'll probably make a video about it though when my experimentation is done. Always start at the outside edge if the best I can to make some room. See if they're building any. These are double wax frames. Here's that wonky comb I was talking about a few times ago. I just mash it because they need to remake that and draw this out better. They build these little cups on the bottom here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I usually crack them open to see if there's an egg, and there's not, and then I kind of mash them down just to keep them from getting too far ahead. This is natural from them builded this time of year. Down on the bottom of these frames, especially on these frames that are natural without foundation like this one. I use these in-frame in-hive feeders from a large distributor. I prefer these feeders inside the hive rather than on top, just for me getting in and out of the hive. All right. Doesn't look bad, but it feels a little light on stores up here. So I'm gonna need to give them some feed. So now that I don't think I'm going back in here, I always tighten it up. And I set my hive on my hive cover. But this time of year, I always take a peek. Obviously, I just looked at every frame, but that's an opportunity to take a peek. There's my brood minder, beetle trap. They like to propolis these up, but I like to take a peek each time to see anything running around. No beetles. Scrap off the propolis. Scrape off. On this bottom hive, I usually take out the drone frame first. No drone laying over here. Unlike the other hives, this one's a little further behind, like I said. Definitely some stored sugar in this one, little nectar. See the glistening in it? That's ready to eat food, so this is good. They do have some stores down here, but it's definitely not too much. So I'm still probably gonna add some sugar water to this one unless I run into a lot of capped honey here towards the end. Little patches of brood. See, I haven't seen a brood pattern yet in this hive that I would consider beautiful, which is why I have this one labeled for requeening. It's just not a brood pattern I'm proud of. And you gotta be ruthless with your queens if you want your apiary to succeed. Lots of laying room here. I'm not seeing a whole lot of eggs, and I'm gonna probably see the queen, but she's just not laying it up. There she is. Yellow dot, clipped queen. So, like I did the other day, if you watched that video, I am a queen catcher. I try to be very gentle with my queens. When I'm in here whacking around the hives, I like to know where she is so I can be a little quicker, a little rougher, and I always set her on top of another box. Like I said before, I don't like to set on other areas because if I get busy and set something on that frame, I could open it up. Just not a beautiful brood pattern. So I don't really need to get into the rest of this because I think I've seen enough. I've seen that the queen is still here. You know, they're laying up, but pollen and stores, not amazing. But with a hive like this, it's not doing great. I still, now that I've got the queen, I could take the opportunity and knock out a quick mite check on this one just to make sure that they're still not getting mite bombed. Yeah. Starting to draw out some wax though, so they're earning their keep, making some wax. Some good food stores in this one, so they're not going to starve, but I'm going to add some sugar water. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a mite check. Okay, mite check time. I use a bucket, little wash tub, something like that, set it somewhere. I always choose a frame with both sealed and unsealed brood on it, and of course that the queen is not on. And like I just showed you a minute ago, I've already caged the queen, so I know she's not in there. Now, my little lesson about mite checks, I have tried every single mite check tool there is out there. This one is available easy in the United States. It's on every single beekeeping website. There are some good things about this and some not so good things about this. This is one made by Saracel. It's not available at every web store. There's some good things and bad things about it, but I'm tending to like this one a little bit more. And the reason is the lid does not leak. It's got a good gasket, it's got a clamp, and it's got a little bit different style basket in it. Let me show you the baskets on this one. This one's got lines. This one has got holes. That's the difference in the baskets. I tend to like this basket a little bit more. One thing about this one, it's got a nice little hook so it can kind of hang there. This little plastic hook makes it nice to let the bees drain out. The good thing about this one is this cup is where you can pour your water or your, soap water or alcohol, whichever you choose to use. I use both 91% alcohol and or detergent. I am switching from Dawn Ultra because it's so sudsy to a dishwasher style detergent that does not make suds. It makes it much easier for me. Randy Oliver does not agree with me on that one. He says that he did not find dishwashing detergent was as effective as Dawn. My personal tests disagree with that, so I prefer to use the soap without the suds. I do have a lot of alcohol on hand, so I'm still using alcohol until that is gone, and then I'm probably going to go exclusively to soap. So let me just show you how I do a mite check, and we'll see what these mites are. So you take your nurse bees, they haven't flown out yet. You get some sort of cup of bees and throw them in there, and then very quickly get the lid on so you capture all of them. This does kill the bees, and you do a rotation shake. This rotation is basically keeping you from throwing the mites back up. For about a minute, this is what you do. I usually cut it short of a minute and let them drain. I get a sense of where the mites are. I might not get a very accurate count, but once I do the mite count, I write this on the top of the hive and I know where these mites are. After a few seconds, you're gonna know if you have mites. You know, you need to do the full minute to get the precision count. Now this cup of bees, while I'm shaking this up, gets them in here. It has about 300 bees. 300 is essentially the number of bees to get a good statistical count of how many per 100 you have. So if I come out of here with 3 mites, I have a 1% infestation rate because I have 300 bees that I'm measuring. If I was only doing 100 bees, I would, you know, get 1 mite to get a 1% infestation rate. So it just kind of ups the end count so you can get a good accurate measurement. So that is probably long enough to know where we are. And I haven't even peeked yet, but I'm gonna show you how this hook works. A little handle came off, but that goes right back on. Pretty easy, I believe. And this little hook comes out, and it kind of rests like that. And you can see it's above the water, and it drains out. I'm gonna put this little handle back on. The handle is just to lift it out of the basket, and it kind of slides in and slides out. All right, I like to shake them out and then test. And you're not going to be able to see this. 0 mites. That's my extended release oxalic acid working. There might be 1 in here, but I haven't seen it yet if there is. I have 2 of these because this is what I end up doing. I pour, because this one doesn't have the lid that holds the entire volume. So I almost need 2 buckets here. So I have a little sieve here. I make sure there's nothing in it, and then I pour my alcohol into the other bucket through the sieve, make sure no mites stuck to the bottom if there were any, and then I got my second one. So I bought 2 of these so I can rotate like this, and I'm looking in here to see if there are any mites. There might be 1 mite in there. I'm gonna have to, maybe on this 5K camera you can see that little red dot right there is most likely a mite, and it's a little reddish. It's not as dark, but that's the right size of a mite. So I'm gonna say that's a 1 mite count. So that is 1/3 of a percent, less than 1%. That's a rock solid mite count. Manage your bees, manage your mites, keep them low. Your bees will be healthier, even if it's just defending against deformed wing virus. Now, getting rid of these bees, you can use bees like this to do nosema tests. That's an advanced procedure, but you can crush up some bees, look at them under a microscope. If you think you got dysentery on your hive, these are the bees to do your nosema test off, so you don't need to kill any more bees. I have a little pond right there behind me, and basically I throw the bees in the pond so that after the alcohol comes off of them, the fish or other animals can use the protein from those bees. So that's my mite check. I prefer the Ceracell at the moment, but these are just as good. I think these are called the Easy Check. The one problem I didn't mention is when you do this check on these, it leaks. I'm getting it on my hand already. You know, it leaks out of here. That's the biggest issue with this one is it leaks. But these are available almost everywhere. If you have one, keep using it. It's more important to use it. But if you haven't bought one yet, at the moment, I would say get that one. Somebody else will invent another one here soon. Okay, so that's my mite check. I'm gonna go ahead and cut out of this and get back into the hives. Okay, I went and got my sugar water because I'm gonna show you guys how I do that. But now it's time to put this back together after we just did our mite check with 1 mite out of 300 bees. So a 0.33% mite infestation rate. Most everyone would be happy with that, as am I. Okay, squishing everything back together. Beetle trap, brood minder for brood temperature. This is where I put my queen in the bottom. So I've got her here, shake her out, there she goes. Love to see her go in. Tight. Now this is 1-to-1 sugar syrup. I keep it in this bucket so that I can pour it easier. It only holds about 2.5, 3 gallons, so I have to refill it a lot from my 5-gallon buckets. This has a little bit of Honeybee Healthy that I've made, homemade Honeybee Healthy, and this is thymolized syrup. I use a thymol mixture in order to keep it from molding. You can put a little bit of bleach in your sugar water. It doesn't hurt the bees at all. Just a little bit in a 5-gallon bucket, or you can use this thymol, which has some other benefits. That'll be a separate video. This is a 1-gallon feeder. They'll go through that very quickly. Not a whole lot of stores in here. Stored as honey, just a lot of nectar, so I'm going to fill that one all the way up. All right. Queen excluder is not performing the queen excluder function right now. I'm just storing my queen excluders on the hive. This is the ventilated screened inner cover that I still have the double bubble on because it's not quite hot yet. Lid back on. And the most important thing is this right here. Pull out your marker, write down the date. 2-22. I put a yellow if I saw the queen. 1 mite. And I'm going to still say requeen because I'm not happy with the brood pattern. All right, on to the next one. All right, YouTube, my camera is not going to be able to record constantly at 5K. I've learned it gets hot, so it's going to be a little bit of short in and out. This was my cell builder, but I wanted to turn it on for this one. This is the hive I took the queen cells out of last night, if you watched that video. So I need to, did you see how I just set my smoker on that queen cage? That's exactly what I was telling you about. There's no queen in here right now, but that is, I just set it there and boom. Be careful. Don't set queen cages like that. I know what's up here, but I need to find the queen. So I got to check every frame in this one to decide if this is going to be a cell builder once again. Eddie, lots of words. That's what I need. Honey, out. New cells. We're good. More honey. Not a lot. Good source for cell builder, though. I don't think I do this again. I'm going to put the sugar water here. There's actually even enough in here that if I need to do any more splits, I might come in here and grab honey out of here. Now look at that. See those queen cells? Those are because this was the cell builder, and look at that brood frame. So this is a perfect split frame. It was in my cell builder. It did not keep them from drawing out my queen cells, but now I've got 3 beautiful queen cells on a frame of beautiful capped brood. This hive doesn't even need splitting, but this is a split frame. Pollen food, perfect to be next to the cells. So I think I'm going to keep using this one as my cell builder. I can tell already. We'll see what's in the bottom though. See how they did while they were below the queen excluder. More honey. Gosh, I got so much honey in here. Matter of fact, I'm going to take one of these frames of honey to put with the split frame I just pulled over there. So this hive is continuing to weaken up. All right, YouTube, I can't find the queen in this cell builder, so I'm pulling out the big guns. I'm gonna go ahead and shake the bees in here, but I'm gonna use what's called a shaker box. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do that. The queen is not in here. This was the one above the queen excluder. Double screen board. This is my new bottom. I got a little entrance cover there. This is going back on. This is how the cell builder is going back in place. Okay, and I've got my spot here with my food store, so my grafting frame is going to go there. But I'm going to give them a little bit of room and just show you guys how this works. And the one thing about a shaker is you have to have one additional thing. You have to have a box with a shaker board. I made this shaker board by just putting a queen excluder inside where a shaker box fits. So when this is on, only the bees, except for the queen, can go through there. And with that in place, you can shake every frame into the shaker box. And with that, you'll know that every bee is out of there. Now, in order to do that, you got to have a spot to set your frames, because the very last shake is going to be of the box, or looking inside to see if she's in there. So this is actually a pretty good little lesson. Might be its own little snip. One more look. Don't really need to, because I'm doing the shaker method now. Every bee. Sometimes when I get a runner like this, I like to mark the box that I had trouble, because usually you have the same problem with the same hive every single time, because the nature of that bee is to hide, some more than others. So it's just a trait to put on the box. That way when you get in there for the first time, maybe you remember last time you had a hard time finding her and she might be in the cracks more than others. I already see her. Okay, so mission accomplished. I'm going to take you over here just so you can see what this looks like. She's in here. I just saw her. There she is. Can you see her right here trying to go through? So I never found her, but she's right here inside the shaker box. So now, mission accomplished. I can put her in the queen cage. Got her. Okay, so not going to put my queen down in a bad spot, but shaker successful. So now this is where I can shake all the bees I want into my starter. I didn't take very long with the shake, did it? You could argue that I should have just done that from the get-go, and I can't disagree with you. I'm going to put my queen on my hive now, just so I set it in a good spot like I've taught you guys. One more shake. All right, putting this one back together now. Queen excluder. Cell builder with the entrance to the back from the double screen board. Now the queen excluder is not being used at the moment with the double screen board on, but when I pull the cells out, I won't need to go find my queen excluder. It's already in the right spot. All right, so these are now queenless up top with lots of space. This is where my cells are gonna go. They got lots of honey. Close them up. All right, good lesson with the cell builder. And like I mentioned, I'm gonna mark this one. 223. I did see the yellow queen. I'm gonna put runner, exclamation point on here, cell builder. Those are the notes for the cell builder. Always interesting trying to find the queen. Let's keep going.